Here in miniature is America, the yacht that won a famous race in 1851 and forever gave its name to a legendary trophy cup. In our own time, a controversial new breed of yachtsman is fighting both on the seas and in the courts to win the cup back for America. He's got some pretty big sailing shoes to fill, as Jerry Bowen reminds us.
Gotta be real careful with it, you know it.
The America's Cup is not for the meek or humble. It's a high-stakes, high-seas race that requires big money and even bigger egos. In the late 70s, media mogul Ted Turner was such a man. He captured the prize with his yacht Courageous and earned the nickname Captain Outrageous for his attitude and his under-the-table, over-the-top drunken celebration.
Columbia, representing the United States, led the British challenger Scepter by remarkable margins in 4 races.
From its beginning 157 years ago, the race for the Cup has always been colorful, if not controversial. In 1983, when the Americans lost the Cup for the first time ever, the Yanks complained the victorious Australian boat had an advantage, a secret keel that made it faster.
The boat flying the boxing kangaroo flag punched through the finish line more than 3 minutes ahead.
The Aussies kept the Cup, and the keel controversy became part of racing lore, that do-anything attitude to get a competitive edge, says America's Cup historian John Rumenier.
Is it a gentleman's sport? Somebody involved with commented on the America's Cup. Mr. Dooley, the great cartoonist 100 years ago, said, it's a gentleman's sport, and because of that, you got to watch everything.
And the gentlemen are at it again. A sea battle between landlocked Switzerland, the current holder of the Cup with its winning yacht Alenghi,
Checking!
and San Francisco's Golden Gate Yacht Club, led by an American original who desperately wants the Cup back. His name is Larry Ellison, and Larry Ellison hates to lose.
Well, we built a sailboat to go as fast as we know how to make a sailboat go. So she's a hydrofoil trimaran, and she'll go about 3 times faster than the wind speed.
If horse racing is the sport of kings, then this is the sport of billionaires, spending tens of millions of dollars to capture that most prestigious prize, the America's Cup.
This is the Ellison yacht, and there's never been anything like it. We took a look during its initial sea trials off of San Diego last month, and its profile is massive. The mainsail is twice as large as a Boeing 747 wing. Its mast as tall as a 16-story building. The footprint, 90 feet by 90 feet, the size of a baseball infield.
I've got a Bugatti, which is the fastest car in the world, but it's nothing like driving this boat.
Larry Ellison can easily afford Bugattis, big boats, and monstrously big houses.
Mr. Larry Ellison.
He co-founded software giant Oracle and is one of the richest men in the world, worth billions. His primary home in Northern California cost $200 million. And the boat he's built to challenge the Swiss, a joint project with automaker BMW, has cost upwards of $20 million so far.
Jimmy, show me what you got here.
Yeah, come on off and have a look.
Jim Spithill is the helmsman, the boat's driver.
How fast do you get going?
Certainly up towards, 40 knots. I mean, who knows? We could have a serious crack at a speed record.
To keep the boat light, there is netting instead of flooring. To reduce drag, there are 3 light hulls instead of a single heavy one. But each innovation brings new dangers.
I think you can leave the jib, leave it out, and just pull up the blank stay on the staysail.
This boat, you make a mistake, it's catastrophic. The boat, you tip over, people can be killed or hurt badly. Once it flips over, it's done.
Caution is not thrown to the wind. For safety, one chase boat follows with a diver and a doctor. There's a second chase boat loaded with computers that monitors the boat's performance like a high-speed athlete in training, crunching data sent over from the yacht's many sensors. On this day, the wind was 20 knots, about 23 miles an hour, and the yacht was doing 30 knots, nearly 35 miles an hour.
We're in a chase boat with 600 horsepower of motors behind us, but even in a light wind, we can barely keep up with the BMW Oracle.
And there's still another boat in the chase, not for racing, but for spying. Those men with the cameras and binoculars are the not-so-secret agents working for Alinghi, the Swiss team which holds the cup.
It has spies, it has security, it has espionage.
Author Joseph Wambaugh is best known for his mystery and nonfiction books about cops. His 1996 novel, Floaters, is based on an earlier America's Cup race held off San Diego.
I can't imagine another sport on the face of the earth that has that kind of intrigue.
And it's all part of the game, says Russell Coutts, skipper of the American yacht.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a dog fight.
We talked on the way back to port.
There's some obvious things that somebody looking from the outside can pick up and learn, but the reality is there's nothing like, sailing the real boat.
Congratulations, the America's Cup.
And New Zealand native Coutts is considered to be the best. In fact, he was the skipper of the Swiss boat when it first won the America's Cup. And when Coutts and the Swiss had a bitter parting of the ways, Larry Ellison snapped him up for the U.S. team. No surprise to author Wambaugh.
This is a rich man's game that I call a blood sport.
And the blood is being spilled in court. After Alinghi won the America's Cup for the second straight time in 2007, Ellison sued to become the sole legitimate challenger. The case, being heard in New York State, is on appeal. Arguments are scheduled for early next year.
You talk about this boat with a twinkle in your eye.
It's been a very interesting project to build this thing, to build something that goes this fast, and it's even more fun to sail. Now we got to get it out onto the water against Alinghi and see if she is what we think she is, which is the fastest sailboat that's ever been built.
Fastest, perhaps, but that doesn't mean it will ever make it to the America's Cup starting line. Ellison and his novel yacht have just taken a shot across all three bows. The Swiss and at least 16 other nations have announced they're going ahead with the next America's Cup regatta, no matter how the American billionaire does in court. After all his maneuvering and all the money he spent, Larry Ellison and his fast boat could still end up in the dry dock of nautical history. A very expensive footnote in the story of this long-running gentleman's sport.